Therefore we have resolved and do resolve, 1. That whereas His Majesty George III is the rightful successor to the throne of Great Britain, and justly entitled to the allegiance of the British realm, and agreeable to compact of the English colonies in America, therefore we, the heirs and successors of the first planters of this colony, do cheerfully acknowledge the said George III to be our rightful sovereign, and that said covenant is the tenure and claim on which are founded our allegiance and submission. 2. That it is an indispensable duty which we owe to God, our country, ourselves, and posterity, by all lawful ways and means in our power, to maintain, defend, and preserve those civil and religious rights and liberties, for which many of our fathers fought, bled, and died, and to hand them down entire to future generations. 3. That the late acts of the British Parliament for blocking up the harbor of Boston, and for altering the established form of government in this colony, and for screening the most flagitious violators of the laws of the province from a legal trial, are gross infractions of those rights to which we are justly entitled by the laws of nature, the British Constitution, and the Charter of the province. 4. That no obedience is due from this province to either or any part of the acts above mentioned, but that they be rejected as the attempts of a wicked administration to enslave America. 5. That so long as the justices of our superior courts of judicature, court of assize, and general jail delivery, and inferior courts of common pleas in this country are appointed or hold their places by any other tenure than that which the charter and the laws of the province direct, they must be considered as under undue influence, and are therefore unconstitutional officers, and as such no regard ought to be paid to them by the people of this county. 6. That if the justices of the Superior Court of Judicature, Court of Assize, etc., justices of the Court of Common Pleas, or of the General Sessions of the Peace, shall set and act during their present unqualified state, this county will support and bear harmless all sheriffs and their deputies, constables, jurors, and other officers, who shall refuse to carry into execution the orders of said courts, and as far as is possible to prevent the inconveniences that must attend the suspension of the courts of justice, we do earnestly recommend it to all creditors to exercise all reasonable and generous forbearance to their debtors, and to all debtors to discharge their just debts with all possible speed. And if any disputes concerning debts or trespasses should arise, which cannot be settled by the parties, we recommend it to them to submit all such causes to arbitration. And if the parties or either of them shall refuse so to do, they ought to be considered as cooperating with the enemies of this country. 7. That it be recommended to the collectors of taxes, constables, and all other officers who have public moneys in their hands, to retain the same, and not to make any payment thereof to the province or county treasurers, until the civil government of the province is placed upon a constitutional foundation, or until it shall otherwise be ordered by the proposed provincial Congress. 8. That the persons who have accepted seats at the council board by virtue of a mandamus from the King, in conformity to the late Act of the British Parliament, entitled An Act for Regulating the Government of the Massachusetts Bay, have acted in direct violation of the duty they owe to their country, and have thereby given great and just offense to this people.